San Antonio. I've got a note. I've got a note. It says pickle juice. Got pickle juice.
I think I'm right here next to Allie.
Why is it everybody has to sit as far away as they possibly can?
Spit when I talk.
It is. Yes, it is.
Can I start this now, Ryan? Well, he's the one that's going to cost me.
We all have challenges, Steve.
We all have challenges. And how do we overcome those challenges? Alrighty, it's 6:03. I need to call to order the UNT County School District Number 1 Board of Trustees Board meeting. I need a motion to go into said meeting.
So moved.
Second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. If you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So it's kind of a sweet little short board meeting today, so what I need is I need a motion to approve the agenda, and the only thing we have on the agenda today is item A. So I need a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that motion.
I got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any alters, any modifications to it? None? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. The approved agenda. Next, I need to approve the consent agenda as items A, B, C, D, and E. A, the minutes. B, payments of bills. C, official newspaper. D, depositories for district funds. And E, board meeting schedule of 24-25. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussions? None? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. All righty. Mr. Thomas.
Chairman Peterson, members of the board, I'd just like to introduce Mr. David Day. He will be making our presentation today. Member of the ELL team. Come on, Mr. Day. Come on up.
Do you want to do it from here? Sure.
Thank you. That was my present when I received my master's degree. My husband said, do you want jewelry, a trip? I said, I'd like to shoot a buffalo. So I did.
Where'd you go?
He's like, I can make that happen.
Where was
Yeah,
that?
Wyoming.
Wyoming? Is that in Wyoming?
That was down in Utah
Utah. Where?
with R&K hunting down in Colville. He's pretty impressive in my living room.
Mine looks like the state park. Sure wasn't on the
He's huge. Yeah, he was 2,300 pounds on the husky.
Good evening.
Delicious.
It does. The
Took 7 shots with the 300 mag.
She just made it.
Just a pop-up site.
Good evening. We're really excited to talk to you guys today about the ELL department that we have in our district. And I'm Lindsay Bowen. I'm the ELL teacher at UN Meadows and Aspen Elementary.
And David Day, and I'm at North.
The other staff members we have are Shad Johnstone and Vern Hopkin. They handle Evanston High School as well as Horizon High School. And we have Tyler Willis, who takes care of EMS, DMS, and Clark. So, role of ELL specialists, we have many. An ELL specialist, we help in a lot of different capacities in the school. And most importantly, we are an advocate for the ELL students as well as their families. And saying that from personal experience, so to speak, I was raised a military child and went to 10 schools in 12 years. So I've lived all over the country in many different parts and cultures. And when we went from Spokane, Washington to, South Texas, right where you can see the Rio Grande from the high school, I was thrust into an environment where I was the minority, not the majority. And being a 5'10" white girl in volleyball, that was kind of, you're noticed. And so I'm very sensitive to that. I take that seriously to be an advocate for the ELLs. Yes.
I'm one of those that doesn't like acronyms. And there's others out there that may not know what that's ELL stands for.
English language learner,
Okay.
or English
I knew, but
second
I just
language.
wanted to
Yeah,
have
to
you say
clarify.
that. Okay.
Yep, so someone who doesn't speak our English natively. So being an advocate to them is important to all of us in the district, and we take that as kind of one of our #1 goals. We help with interpreting or translating for information for the parents to make sure all students are included in all activities as well as academics for our district. ELL specialists help students and staff to make content accessible, as well as content area learning and other core classes. That's difficult when someone's getting a newcomer that speaks zero English. Our teachers are wonderful. They adapt very well. We help them through that process so they don't feel by themselves. We also work very closely to collaborate with general ed teachers, special ed teachers, admin in our buildings, paras, because they are our right-hand man when we're not in the school full-time. And we help them make sure that they're supported and successful as best they can be. So I do have to speak for our team that all teachers in our district really include ELLs, and we haven't had any problems with otherwise. They help them in any way possible. They're willing to do extra to help the students, as well as their families feel comfortable and adjust. Our team, we have 4 men, and I'm the only woman on the team, and we have a great culture. We are the first school district in the state of Wyoming to be completely digital when it comes to monitoring our students. You'll hear a little bit later in the presentation from Mr. Day when students pass our access test, which is the required exam that they need to pass to be proficient. We monitor them for an additional 4 years after that. And to make for efficiency, I wanted it digital, so I told David what my ideas were, because we were paper pencil, and he made sure we were in the parameters of what kept us legal, and so it's been a great thing. We're efficient and strategic in planning for the success of our students, as well as helping professionals do that. Our students have steadily showed growth. It may be minute, but it's growth, so we'll take that. We thoroughly enjoy working together, and our skill sets complement each other. We're all very different, but that works out real well. So.
Okay, I wanted to show you kind of where we stand as a district compared with the U.S. It's probably the fastest growing demographic in the U.S. Right now there are 5 million English language learners, about 10%. In district, we're about 5%. We have 121 ELLs. That's down. Several years ago, we were up to 180. I see it slowly rising. We'll talk about that in a second. Nationally, most ELLs are Spanish speakers, 75% being Hispanic or Latino. We're over 90%, probably 95% Spanish speaking in district. Nationwide, 350 languages. We have 5, if you add our foreign language students, 9 languages. So again, most are Spanish speakers, but we have 1 or 2 students that speak Mandarin Chinese, Portuguese, Bulgarian, Japanese, and then some foreign exchange students that speak some other languages. I think a misconception is that most ELLs were born elsewhere and then came to the U.S. Nationally, most are born in the U.S. At the elementary level, 82%, secondary, 62% are U.S. born, and we're right there. I had Jan Rank pull the numbers. We're right at 82% at the elementary level, and then secondary, 66% are U.S. born. So most of our ELLs born, most in Evanston, I would guess, if not in the U.S. Wanted to give you a quick overview of our process. Just like special ed, we have a process for how we identify, serve, and then exit students. And so it starts off with the parents. As we register them, they fill out a home language survey. And the home language survey asks questions like, what language does your students understand? What do they speak? What's the primary language spoken at home? Are there any other languages spoken at home? And once we get that, if anyone's marked anything other than English, we'll call the parents and ask how much and see if it warrants a screener test. We'll give this screener, if they pass this screener, if their English is proficient or competent enough, they are not considered to be an English language learner. If they don't pass the screener, they qualify to be considered an ELL, and we will provide services to that student. And how long do we work with that student? It depends. Every spring we give an access test. It's kind of like our YTAL, and it's a federally mandated test. If students pass access, then they are no longer considered ELL, and we'll monitor them for 4 years. We've had students pass, after a year of working with them. We've had students that graduate without passing. They'll work through the system, and the test gets harder, and their English doesn't keep up, and they will never pass access. So anything between 1 year and however long it takes. Any questions about that? In district, this is what we look like. These are our demographics. 121 ELLs. That's kind of the breakdown between schools. We've noticed an uptick in newcomers. Newcomers are students who are in the U.S. public school system for 1 year or less. I would say in the last 5 years we've had 3 or 4. We have 15 this year. So these are students arriving, no English, and this is their first year in the United States, in the U.S. school system. That last row, students on monitor status, those are students who have passed the test, they've passed access, they've shown proficiency, and we're monitoring them for 4 years, monitoring their GPAs, their grades, their participation levels, their attendance, just to make sure they are still doing well. So, as I mentioned, how long do we work with them? Students usually acquire social language in 2 to 4 years. Most of our ELLs have a good degree of social language. You may talk to them and think, this kid doesn't speak Spanish, or their English is great, they don't need any help. Social language is somewhat easier to acquire. It's the academic language that is the struggle for most of our ELL students. So it's the academic vocabulary, and that takes 4 to 7 years. Now research is saying up to 10 years to be on par with your native English speaker counterparts. 10 years. So it can be a long time. I would say the biggest factors that influence that is prior education. If they come from another country, I've had a student come from Mexico, and he was in a private school, the best schools, right? He was there for 3 years before he came to the U.S. He learned English in a year and passed access. If students come from a place that's, maybe they have interrupted formal education, Venezuela, for example, we know what's happening in Venezuela, they're behind. They come and there's a gap. And so our challenge is to bridge that gap.
David, just curiosity, how many of our newcomers are Spanish speakers?
All of them.
All of them?
All of them.
And a lot of them, not all, but a lot are from Venezuela. We're having an influx of students from Venezuela. And they all, most of mine anyways, I don't know about the others, have interrupted schooling. Like it's tough down there. They're not able to go. Mine actually spent time in Colombia,
Yeah.
where during COVID they had online schooling once or twice a week. You know, and so they're behind.
Thank you.
Any other questions about our demographics? We work to give every student 45 minutes a day at least. Newcomers, we try to give them more time. We either push in to classrooms and support mainstream teachers, or we'll pull a group out and work on English acquisition. We focus on the 4 language domains that are tested in access: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And our instruction is aligned with the Common Core state standards, as well as 5 national standards for ELLs that we use. We use direct instruction and digital teaching with a blended learning format. Some of our digital tools, we use some at K-12, Duolingo, Reading A to Z. Some of these have been helpful. Questions about that? I think that's it, right? That's all we have. Do you have any questions for us? Kind of a quick and dirty overview of we're under the Title III grant. Right, so we have Title I, Title III works with students who speak another language. So most of our students most of our ELLs are not foreign exchange students, but foreign exchange students do count in this, in that definition.
We can't say enough, too, that we feel a lot of support from our admin in each of our individual buildings, as well as the teachers. They really have a tough job adapting this instruction for the multiple levels that they have, because a lot of these students we do get that are newcomers, may have been detained in Colombia or Venezuela for a month or two. By the time they get here, a few months later, they're just excited to be in school. We do find a common theme throughout all of the newcomers specifically. They're highly motivated to learn English. They want to be here, they want to be with their peers. So I just really appreciate all the time and effort that the staff puts in to help us.
It really is a team effort. There are, I think, district-wide 15 other teachers who are ESL endorsed. And so they're able to, they know how to work with these students, and they know what strategies are helpful and what's not helpful, and so that's nice as well. Whenever we can hire teachers who are ESL endorsed, that's a good deal.
Yes, I have one question. Do we have an idea what happens after they graduate? Do we have a percentage that go on to college, to a trade school, or to the
I don't have that
field?
data right now.
Anything
I would
like
say
that?
all of the above. Personally, anecdotally, I have students who have gone to Western Wyoming. I have students who have started working. I have students who've gone to the military. Yeah.
We do have some previous ELL students that have been hired as paras that are an invaluable asset to us because they're bilingual.
Yep.
So what does a day look like for one of those kids that doesn't speak English when they come to school? Where do they start? Where do they end up? Are they full out in one classroom, or they all over the place? Well, I don't know.
They're a little bit of both. We do pull out to do intensive, to teach survival phrases first. Hello, my name is, where's the bathroom?
So
help
you
me.
could have that group of 15 there.
Yes, so we pull them out. We help the teacher with those as well. We'll do a lot of visual aids to help them for pictures and things. And we will help just establish that they have some confidence to help. Their peers are actually a huge asset. Being included and we have good school cultures here, and the students are very accepting of that. That helps a lot. We do help and assist the teachers quite a bit as well. So we're on like speed dial for them.
So as their ability gets better,
Right.
they move up in the system.
Right. I can say confidently, I think David and I could win any game of charades. And our teachers can too.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that depends on the school and the ability level of the student. Like I said, newcomers, they may work with me for 2 hours. My more advanced ELL's 45 minutes, but again, our minimum is 45 minutes per student.
And even though the majority of our students are Spanish speaking, we do have 2 that are Chinese speakers at UNM Meadows, and we obviously don't know Chinese, but we're very grateful. Dr. Ingalls has pulled in resources the minute we need someone to translate, it's done. So we do have other resources we can pull and make sure every student has that ability, and their parents can come to a parent-teacher conference as well, and to communicate, know how their child's doing, and ask questions. And all of them really want the same thing, and that's for their kid to be more successful than they are. And they want their kid to learn. They try very hard.
Do you use I have like a 1-800 number I call for medical stuff that I can get every language you can think of. Do you guys use that where you get on the phone with someone who speaks the language?
We have that, but we've been able to get volunteers or teachers in district.
Oh, that's nice.
For some of our Chinese students, I've had to phone a friend,
Yeah.
right?
You must have some good friends.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't have that good of friends. I have to call that number and say hello.
He lives in Orem, and he's been gracious enough to, every November and March, 15-minute parent-teacher conference. And
That's nice, yeah.
So, it's fun. They do understand and appreciate the resources and staffing we have in district. I was talking to a family who's struggling. They're out of work, and they may be moving, and they said, we don't want to. I said, why? It's too cold here. You should go back to. I should go with you back to Mexico. And they said, no, the schools are just awesome here. They're just great. Anyways.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the board.
Thank you very much.
Wanting this opportunity. We're very proud of our ELL program and our teachers and our students and the work that they do. And the question came up when we showed our test scores of how well our kids are doing. And that's a tribute to this team that's in front of you. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes, great. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I guess we will now move on to our discussion items. Mr. Thomas?
Give me 1 second. We will move on to our discussion items. Our first discussion item is our budget development timeline of the process. This hopefully is not new to you, because you've seen it before. What's going on here? Let's just have to source it.
Culture and all trades.
Talk amongst yourself.
So how's the weather?
Open a little shade, see what happens.
What kind of snow we got?
Well, I'll go ahead and go, so I can just talk.
I don't see
The
it.
budget development timeline, we present this every year. These are basically the priorities that we follow as we develop a budget. Yeah, we start the budget process in January. It culminates, I don't know if it ever culminates, but it culminates with a budget hearing in July when we present the official budget. But as you're well aware, budgets and educational budgets in Wyoming are moving targets. So a lot of estimates, even in July, believe it or not, we didn't even receive the 100 before we approved the budget in July this year. Anomaly, but anyway. I don't want to go through the whole timeline, just want to talk about the priorities. And you can see that, you should have that in your documents if you don't.
The important
But,
dates.
Budget principles and priorities. Number one priority is a balanced budget. Meet the legal requirements of FAPE. FAPE is free and appropriate public education, which we not only meet, but we exceed the legal requirements of FAPE. Protect core programs, K-12, which would be language arts, mathematics, social studies, and science. Scrutinize all expenditures for possible savings. Reduce staff when necessary through attrition. Provide salary increases for all employees. That is a priority for us. We will complete the market analysis for the support staff salary schedule this year. We're just not sure what we're going to do with it. Depends on what happens with the budget process. Transparency, that's why we start in January. I think every budget or every board meeting will talk about the budget, where we are and what we know. Legislative session starts in February. We'll be very active with our legislators to hopefully have a positive outcome with the legislative session. Our expectation is the board reserve between 5 and 10%, and we've had that discussion anytime we have an expenditure where we are with our carryover. Our carryover is above, I think, right at around 10%, John. It's hard to tell, but again, we're doing well with that. And this is the last year of our BESSER, so we'll expend those funds probably mostly in summer school, and we'll be finished, I think, November?
September 30th.
September 30th. yeah. So we have to have all those funds expended, and we will. That's really our budget process. It's a process that starts with administration. We take it to the building principals. We bring it to you. We spend a lot of time with our legislators in terms of where we are with the 100, which is our funding. We actually chose to join a lawsuit this year because of our concerns, and that continues too. But the process, we try to be as transparent as possible. And we always have concerns, and those concerns continue. But again, all we can be is optimistic and well-prepared, and we are. Any questions about our budget process?
No.
It's my plug. It's my plug. No questions, we can move on to the calendars. It's a lot easier to talk about the calendars if you can see them. Hopefully, I
I've
guess.
got it up. You can share.
So, Chairman Peters and members of the board, every January we present the calendars for the coming school year and then the school year after that. So these are the calendars for the 2024-25 school year, which you've already approved as a draft. And then this is the first time you get to see the 25-26 calendar, which will be approved next month as a draft. You can see that there's very little change. We follow the same, I'll say, strategies and models that we've followed probably, well, since 2009.
Long time.
Just so you know, there are requirements that we have to meet with the calendar. 175 student days, 185 teacher contract days. Within that, we have some flexibility. I think what the board has allowed us to do is basically present a calendar that hopefully improves our instructional program, at the same time provides us some adequate time through the school year. So typically, we start a week before Labor Day. We end typically the same week of Memorial Day, and in that, we have 175 days with our students and 185 days with our teachers. Kind of like the calendar. I think the next calendar, 24, 25, improves a little bit with Christmas. 2 weeks, we get out on the 20th, we come back on the 5th, I believe. Same thing happens in the next calendar. I did have a few people say, well, why didn't we start on Monday after, well, just works out the way it does, and I think the 2 weeks of Christmas was well liked. But this calendar makes it a little nice, it's the 20th instead of the 19th. Any questions about the calendar? Okay, I can go on if you would like.
Yes.
Okay. Item C is permission to provide lifetime service stipend. Again, every January I bring this forward. Our plan is to propose a lifetime service stipend for those who have 20 years plus. Give me 1 second. The plan really hasn't changed. I think it's a good thing we do for our staff. Anyone that has 20 years in our district can qualify for this stipend. It doubles their payout for sick leave and it provides $100 as kind of a stipend for the years of service. So if you have 30 years of service, you get $3,000 plus a payout of your sick leave at double what we normally pay. It's not a lot of money. No one would retire because of this. It's just a nice thing we do to congratulate people who've spent a lifetime of service in this district. We anticipate 5 certified and 5 support every year. We're usually right around that number. The money to fund this comes out of the Employee Benefit Fund, $75,000. Years that we've had extra revenue, we've put that back. We're still above $1 million in the Employee Benefit Fund, which means still 15 years of this benefit still awaits us, which again is, you remember in 2016 when we presented it, it was 15 years. Well, now we've been 5 additional years because of how the board has budgeted those funds. So it's a nice thing to do. I'll put it out to the staff tomorrow and you approve this in March. Any questions? Okay, the last one is permission to early notification stipend. This is again another strategy to help us in replacing our staff. We provide a $500 stipend if you notify us before the March board meeting that you intend to leave the district at the end of your contract or the end of the school year. Again, it's not going to encourage anyone to leave, it just encourages them to let us know early so we can replace those. Job fairs are typically first and second week in March, so if we don't have a list of what we're hiring, we're already behind. So this keeps us in a place where we can hopefully be proactive. Even then, we don't get all the resignations, but we do get a significant number to allow us to hire. So just permission to move that forward.
Okay.
That's actually more of a notice that we're going to do that.
That's what it is.
No questions? You want to
No
move on?
questions?
Oh, I guess you have to move on.
Yeah, I got to move on. So that finishes our discussion items, so now we can move into public comments. You have something to say, Jared? All right, I'm just looking for somebody out there. I got 2 minutes. So if there are no public comments, we can move on to our action items. Mr. Thomas.
Chairman Peterson, members of the board, you have one contract resignation. Our recommendation is that you approve the resignation as listed in your packet.
Okay. So,
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the resignation as so indicated by Mr. Thomas.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Guess on whatever you want. Like I had it in stereo, so.
I withdraw my second. She can have it.
Yeah. Any discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, that is it for our action items. It is now 6:35. Anything on the round table? Any comments?
Just to make sure you guys are aware of the legislative forum, February 18th and 19th. You need to start making those plans if you want to attend. It's a long way for a short time, but I know some of you have been in the past. You get to sit down with all of the board representatives with the Wyoming School Boards Association. They talk about the upcoming legislation, so you kind of get a head start on that. Typically, the Monday, we meet with our legislators and talk at the Capitol, which is really pretty cool. But if you'd like to attend, let us know. We'll make reservations and rooms.
Okay.
What are the dates on that?
18th and 19th, so that's a Sunday, Monday.
So anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion items? Any discussions? No discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. It is 6:36:45. I am $20,000 richer. Thank you. There was $20,000 lying on that little thing. Made it by 15 seconds.
Put a block up here that shows us our
I think we've got a record. Quite a long way.
$12 semester, how we're gonna fund this before.